A UK crew is evolving a car how will be able of achieving 1,000 mph, 1,610 km/h. Given by a missile bolted to a Eurofighter Typhoon jet motor, the car will at first install an attack on the planet Earth rate recording, 763 mph, 1 to 28 km/h, in 2019. Sleuth will run on Hax Keenpan in Northern Cloak, Southward Africa, in 2019. Sleuth is operative. In 3-speech, Sleuth's operative CEO, Martin Davidson, summarized up the fabulous artistic achievements of our monthly at Newquay. We had finished our at first social rest, in front line of a mob of 3,500 print sponsors and supporters. We were really operative. Deployment. The draft to Newquay permitted us to begin test the car at low rate, up to 200 mph, that is cheap rate for a car intended to go 1,000 mph. We as well had to boat train ourselves as a crew to work the planet's largest progressive direct line race vehicle. One item we were not departure to be brief of was force. At the end of September, we finished the statical motor necktie down tests, showing how the Rolls-Royce jet motor would offer us more than force in these sluggish rate tests rather than we had been waiting. Now we had to find out how to monitoring it. The dynamical testing profiles were in 8 stages. Section 1 begun with really bounded jet force to verify the steering system and brakes, growing the force and rate in stages up to Section 8, the complete power, 200 mph social rest. Several rest would requirement to be reiterated, so we had maybe 12 to 15 rest to evolve and testing all of the vehicle system. You can recite a executive summary of how it went in a choice of the testing accountable. The at first, really enjoyable, surprise party was fair how nice the car thick felt to driving. Though at the really sluggish, 50 mph, rate of Section 1, all fair thick felt law. Accurate steering system answer, nice brake pedal sense, sleek suspend, the car was a actual delight to driving. Time traction SSC was lightly burdensome at top, Sleuth SSC once thick felt love a purebred race vehicle. The Sleuth crew is a mix of planet-class space and motor racing engineering personnel, and it showed. A lightly less than pleasant surprise party was the period it took to bed in the brakes. For lane test, in really bounded brake range, we use carbon sequestration disc brakes on all 4 persons' wheels. The issue in carbon sequestration brakes is how if you use them really softly, you end up polisher or glass the surfaces and they won't capture correctly. Yet, to show the vehicle's steering system and brakes, we had to begin slow, so a bit of glass was nearly unavoidable. It would burn up off while we begin to go more rapid, besides how on one of the brakes, it didn't. Time 3 of the brakes rapidly begun work so, quickly heater up to his operational heat, 300 plus C, the front line low remained common cold, so under 200 C. The decision was to go a bit more rapid and do the brakes all job stronger, so on run 4 persons we enlarged the spike rate to 75 mph. The front line low remained common cold for the following pair of rest, so we bled the brakes once again. Conclusion: several residue air how had been concealment in wear sometime. Certainly how would fix it? No. In lot of brake range accessible, we tested departure a bit more rapid yet, aim for 100 mph with maximal drive force, max motor revs. Eventually, unwillingly, the front line law brake pedal brake in lifetime, peak at 370 C and flaming off any left icing. It took 8 rest, but eventually the brakes were prepared. Include a C at the brief movie music video to see which hot carbon sequestration brakes are imaginary to see love. In all 4 persons brakes work correctly, we could now discover out how quick the car could reliably go on Newquay's 744 length, 9003 FOOT, lane. Time test the brakes, we had already begun to reveal the following surprise party, that was the event of rate overswing. Jet engines don't answer immediately to choke changes, so I would include to foresee a slight bit to enable for a little sum of additional accelerate as the motor starts to breeze downward. The issue is, how lot would I requirement to foresee by behind in 1997, Traction SSC, same car how holds the present planet Earth rate recording, utilized really main mechanic gas monitoring system, so hauling behind on the choke would close the gas away, and murder the force, nearly once. As a outcome, Traction SSC's rate overswing was on 10 mph. Sleuth's EJ200 jet motor is really various, with a flight-by-wire digital monitoring framework. While my law leg moves the choke foot, it sends an electric query to the reactives monitoring block, that decides how rapidly it can offer me the force I've requested to. Time the jet accelerate is amazingly quick, it conducted quite much longer to sluggish the jet downward once again. For our at first max dry force run, I raised off the choke at 90 mph, waiting a slight bit of overswing. The rate pointed at 120 mph, that was quite high rather than we were waiting. Obviously there was a car how requested to go quick. We did 2 more than rest at max dry to prove how the overswing was consecutive at 30 mph. It was, so we excited onto with minimal warm, while the motor puts additional gas in the jet tube to deheat the fumes, give her the distinguishing flames and lot more than force. The car was now affecting 150 plus mph, that was as quick as we could reliably go on the brief, taxiway. It was period for the definitive testing, maximal warm on the lane, to do certainly all was work for our social demonstrations at the end of October. The at first max warm run was made of portion way downward the lane, to fit in Newquay Aeroport's flying schedules. Where was yet more than rather than length quite to halt of about 150-160 mph, so I throttled behind at 110 mph to do certainly how any warm overswing wouldn't surprise party us. It did. In spite me hauling the choke behind at precisely 110 mph, the rate pointed at 180 mph. At the spot I may include squeaked really lightly, as the far end of the lane was abruptly looking rather shut. Rapidly onto the brakes, shove before the blood pressure reads 50 bar, no against lock framework, I include to regulate blood pressure manual, verify the jet motor has injury downward to empty, expect for the, yet common cold, carbon sequestration brakes to warmth upwards, and expect the car stops in period. It did, cozily, but the was maybe the largest breathtaking time of the testing stage. The jet had passed our 5-ton jet car by L70 mph following I choose the choke to empty force. At low now we knew which to wait. It was period for our 200 mph social demonstrate rest. In all of the expertise obtained of the over-test, we knew we could do 2 behind to behind rest of the car during on 15 protocol. For every work, I would driving to the end of the lane, next to before determined path circle the aerodrome how would serve for the vehicle's enormous, 250 meter, rotate round. One day on the lining up and purified to go, I spurred difficult on the brake pedal foot in my leftward leg, later eased the choke foot downward to max dried. Nearly once the car begun to slide show striker, overwhelming the brakes. The was the cue for leftward leg up, brakes away, and law leg swimmingly downward via the choke foot stopper, to choose warm. At 30 mph, max warm lights up and the car is accelerator at 30 mph per other. How's the counterpart of 0 to 60 mph in 2 seconds, so everything you include in the parking garage at household, the is more rapid. Not bad for a 5-ton car intended to flight at ultrasonic speeds. 3 na bit seconds following the warm lights up, the car is making 130 mph and he's period to choke behind, pausing for fare above part other, later swimmingly compress the brake pedal foot up to 40 bar as the car is accelerator via 150 mph, so how by the period the car traffic 200 mph, on 8 seconds following producing the brakes are hot and start to sting. Verify the jet motor is yet at empty force, growth the brake pedal blood pressure lightly to 50 bar as the car starts to sluggish, look the brake pedal temperature ascent up via 500 C, they ultimately spike shut to 1000 C, display the range, I can brake pedal lightly stronger if I requirement 4, hold the brakes solidly on before the car is under 50 mph, later easy the blood pressure off and let the car coil, looking front and leftward for a abandoned taxiway. How Newquay Aeroport has baptized the Sleuth accessing path. Affirmative, the car has its own lane accessing. Halt brief by the restoration crew for fast verify over, later driving behind circle the aerodrome to the end of the lane to do it all once again. All 3 of our social days were enormous successful. We entertained nearly 10,000 human beings at Cornwall Aeroport Newquay, and for all such how couldn't do it to the events, we ran a dwell TV show on the internet, consisting dwell at board TV length of the vehicle. Part a millionth human beings observed dwell on the date. If you refuge T had a opportunity to look it still, include a C at the rest there, beautifully told by columnist Mark Werrell and Sleuth's head engineering, Mark Chapman. We were lightly undertaken ago by the scope of the print scope for our at first social rest. The concern was insurmountable, in TV crews shooting cute lot continually for above 12 several hours, of 6 in the night as we rolling Sleuth out of the parking garage, should how be booth, all the way via to the dwell night news story scope. I begun generally unconvinced by the new quirk, partially since they insisted on setting a bulb 360 extent chamber fair in front line of me in the Kubrick time I was drive. Yet, possessing seen the definitive cut off, I will recognize to creature more than confident. I wasn't the just a, as the 360 movie was examined by so above 1 millionth human beings in its at first 2 days. If you refuge T seen it still, include a C at the brief live video. I've never seen scope of a racing car, rather love it. In executive summary, we reached which we set out to do. We showed off the car at 200 mph to the auditorium at Newquay, or, via the print and the dwell flowing, to a world auditorium of millions. Maybe fair as importantly, following year of job, we proven to ourselves how we include a car and a crew prepared to go lot more rapid. If the year was breathtaking, later following year is departure to be wonderful.